Global trade had brought great success to China, particularly during the time of the Qing dynasty. China was drawn into global systems through maritime trade. It was surely an era of great success and economic prosperity. Chinese workers had produced vast quantities of silk, porcelain, and lacquerware, and even tea for consumers in the Indian Ocean basin. These items were greatly found to be wanted among many. There were relatively few imports. The main spices had come from Malacca, and some exotic products, such as birds and other animals, had come from tropical regions in that area. Not only that, but small quantities of woolen textiles also came from Europe. These few imports were allowed to come in and implemented a highly favorable balance of full-scale trade with the Europeans. The compensation for exports had come in the form of silver bullion, which had supported the silver-based Chinese economy and fueled manufacturing. This commercial expansion had taken place in a tight government regulation. The Ming Emperor Yongle had sought to establish Chinese presence with the Indian Ocean basin, and he had also sponsored 7 massive maritime expeditions from 1405 to 1433, led by Unit Admiral Zhang He, a great Chinese explorer and fleet commander. He was indeed best known for his treasure ship voyages to India. His rulings implemented economical growth as well as commercial expansion. The fleets included as many as 317 vessels and 28,000 men. After the reign of Yongle, the government had withdrew its support for expensive maritime expeditions and even attempted to prevent Chinese subjects from having any contact with foreign peoples. In an effort to later do so, the government tried to end maritime activity altogether. However, Qing authority had closely supervised activities of foreign merchants in China, and they permitted Portuguese merchants to operate only at the port of Macaé. This regulation was known as the Canton system, a trading pattern that developed between Chinese and foreign merchants, especially British, in the south trading city of Guangzhou. Guangzhou was historically the major southern port in China, and the main outlet for the country's tea, rhubarb, silk, spices, and handcrafted articles that were sought by Western traders. Government policies had also discouraged organization of long-scale commercial ventures by Chinese merchants. Other restrictions included that women were forbidden to bind feet, as well as men had to wear hair in Manchu style. Furthermore, there was Confucian law with a male-dominated society. And since the Chinese were resistant to Manchu rule, they had to be forced to do the things that they had to do, including not being able to marry, and like I said before, having a male-dominated society, not wearing their hair in a certain way, and not being able to bind their feet. The organization of long-scale commercial ventures was once again discouraged by the government, as in the absence of the government, it was impossible to maintain shipyards that can construct large sailing ships such as the mammoth 9-masted treasure ships that Zhang He had led throughout the Indian Ocean. Similarly, it was impossible to organize large trading firms such as the English East India Company and the Dutch VOC. These companies were funded by private investors and would have over time eventually meant that the British would eventually control all of India. That was indeed what these companies did, and China was not able to do just as they were.